Talk to Me is one of the most scariest movies of the year. I mean, Jesus Christ, it's short and it's sweet, but it packs a lot. It's a lot of punch in a fairly short amount of time. And what is yet another horror gem from A24, Talk to Me creates a modern horror masterpiece that is truly, I think, era-defining. I think this is one of the few good horror movies that we've had in a while, and I think its short runtime really helps with that because a lot of it is just really going into the main character's head and whether or not they can really trust the spirits. And the movie was created by some pretty prominent YouTubers who work under the channel Raka Raka. They have made some iconic YouTube sketches and have millions of subs on the platform. And they're actually no strangers to horror at all, seeing as they have experimented with it before. Okay, so I'm going to dive into spoiler territory. I'm going to do a little plot synopsis. So don't watch if you haven't seen the movie. The movie opens up with the young man named Cole as he rushes into a chaotic house party to locate his troubled brother Duckett. Amidst the chaos, Duckett unexpectedly attacks Cole before taking his own life. It was pretty gnarly. Meanwhile, 17-year-old Mia grapples with her mother's recent death and her distant relationship with her father, finding solace in her friend Jade's family. At school, a viral trend emerges involving some possessed partygoers. Mia tries it for the first time and oddly likes it, but she does end up going over the time they are supposed to be touching the artifact. They later meet up again at Jade's house with the artifact again and, have a little party. I don't know why. And the dark side kind of rears its head. Some more of the members are embarrassed by the possessions. I think Jade's boyfriend gets possessed and he makes out with a dog or something. And then Riley, Jade's little brother, who's very close to Mia, wants to try it out. Mia wavers and Jade's like, hell no, don't do it. And while Jade left the room, Mia's like, hey, just do it. Just do it for a little bit. Just do it for 15 seconds. And then Riley does do it. And then as possessed, he may or may not be possessed by Mia's mother. Mia's mother talks to her spirit, I guess, and she doesn't take the hand off in time, and it just goes from 1 to 11 really quickly. Riley messes himself up, like dog. He messes himself up, and poor dude. Mia is blamed for the thing and tries to figure out a way to save Riley. As Riley's condition worsens, the group learns about the artifact's dangerous history, leading them to try a risky solution involving Mia's connection with the spirit world. Mia's been seeing weird ghosts and stuff ever since she went over a lot of time. Mia's own possession and the haunting presence of her deceased mother push her to consider extreme measures to save Riley. Convinced by the spirits to end Riley's suffering, Mia attempts to, kill Riley by pushing him into a freeway, but I didn't really see how this happened, but I think she chose to kill herself instead. And, as she's disoriented and in the afterlife, she kind of sees flashes of her loved ones and before being engulfed in this world of darkness. And what I think is this really cool tie-in, sees this candle and she goes up to it, she sees a hand, she touches it, and it's the same hand that she was touching, the possession hand. And then it's some other group of partiers and they're talking to her ghost. I don't know, it was weird, it was trippy. But it was a great movie. The ending, Jesus Christ, this is brutal. I mean, it's bleak. Imagine dying and seeing everyone around you just move on while you're dead. It's incredibly sad, but also tantalizingly scary. And it's just a good and dark ending. It's a good way to do a dark ending. Other people do dark endings, and it's everyone in the world's dead. All the characters are dead. I don't know. They play some Deftones or something, and you're stuck in this darkness forever. And everyone around you just moving on without you, and you can see it happening. And I don't know, I just like that. I like that a lot better. I feel like that's a pretty bleak, pretty strong ending. And it makes you really feel for this character, because although Mia has acted pretty selfishly in the movie, you acknowledge that she's just a child. And, it just feels, cruel for a person to have to go through this. What makes this movie so scary is that there's a lot of unanswered things that don't necessarily have to be answered for the story to make sense. The answer might just add to the horror, but the lack of an answer definitely lets you think where do the spirits, where are they? Are they actually deceased people? Because although we know Mia is a deceased person, is that spirit that was using Mia's mother's voice actually Mia's mother? And is that little glimpse of hell Mia sees an actual place? Because Mia doesn't end up there. So there's a lot of unanswered questions, I would say. And the movie does a great job of making the people in this world feel very real. A lot of the movies depict children and teens in a very cartoonish way, especially in the way they use social media. And that's one of the things that this movie did really well, is its realistic use of how people use social media. It's just people will just take out their phones to record things, even though it's incredibly messed up. I think we've all like had situations where like we've done something embarrassing, maybe we've hurt ourselves, maybe we did something stupid, and people recorded it, and like we don't want them to post it anywhere, but they just laugh and they post it anyway. That's definitely happened to me, like as a kid, and yeah, I think that's like a very realistic way to use social media. And then rather than just being like that, oh my God, YOLO, haha, youth, hashtags. It showed the use of technology in a much more realistic and I would say a much more insidious way because it's a more realistic way in how it's used. This movie is also very gross, and I mean that in a good way. When people get hurt in this movie, they get hurt. You get a lot of blood and guts and more. Even outside of that, the way the spirits are designed are just so unsettling and creepy, especially when you see that distorted version of Mia's mother at the end of the movie and that old dude. You just really have to praise the movie for the creative ways it uses it to scare you. It doesn't rely on jump scare, more so on spectacle. What I mean by that is that when you're watching a jump scare, you're jumping immediately from 1 to 100. In this movie, it's 1 to 100, but you're seeing the acceleration. So, you go from 1 to 100, but instead of jumping, it's like you're accelerating with the characters. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool, and I think that's like a good way to do horror and like scare people. This was honestly one of the best horror movies we had this year. A lot better than Evil Dead Rise, a lot more substance, I would say. I think it's up there with Midsommar and Hereditary. Honestly, I just think it's a great film all around. The story, the camera work, the actors, the special effects. This really was a unique and terrifying movie. My final review is 4 to 5 stars. Hey guys, remember to like, share, and subscribe, and please be sure to check out my other videos too. My Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem video did not get much love. I hope you guys have a good day, and see you next time. Deuces.